who's the organizer. He's going to be taking care of any technical questions or any issues you might have. Definitely feel free to type them into him. We're going to be kind of fast and quick here today, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit short and sweet because everybody's got their eyes on these numbers here coming out here in a few minutes, and Tom has some positions he wants to manage. So what we're going to do today is just a very basic discussion about what the market profile is, what you're seeing when you look at the actual chart, how it's built throughout the day, and we're going to keep things very simple. We're not even going to open up to a question and answer session, mainly because when we scheduled this morning, we were kind of not thinking of the unemployment number, and that's our mistake, but we're going to have another one early next week. We'll send out an email, let you guys know. Without further delay, let me just pass it right over to Tom, and he's going to start a discussion. Some of this for you guys who have already seen market profile and know a little bit about it, it's just going to be the basics, okay? So hang in there, possibly learn something new today, but you'll definitely be, some of this will be a little bit repetitious for you and a little bit elementary, but other than that, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have no idea what market profile is going to be extremely educational. And the step one of getting this thing started, again, want to thank you for joining us today and beginning this educational process with me. I'm going to hand it over to Tom.
Hey guys, good morning. As Ben said, I was out of town early this week. We were originally going to do this yesterday. Then we decided to move it into today, not realizing the number was out today. And you know, I trade. I've got 4 accounts. I've got to watch positions on. I'm sure most of you trade. So without further ado, this is going to be real simple. It's going to be real basic today. What you're looking at a market profile, the market profile graph was designed to emphasize trade activity on the horizontal scale. That way you could see what was going on and how much was going on, and if you had that information, then you could make trade decisions with a greater expectation than randomness. Now, if you look at my chart on the screen, this is a 30-minute bar chart, and from this bar over is yesterday's trading. So if from here to here is yesterday's trading. This is a bar chart that gives you a vertical view of market activity. Now, if we switch over to a profile chart, this is basically the same view. I have this split out into each individual rotation. Each letter is essentially, when you view it this way, it is essentially a 30-minute bar chart. But what you get is a more dimensional view of the market, not only in terms of the day you're trading, but also what has gone on before it. You get that horizontal dimension of activity that you don't get in a bar chart. And that is what makes this, that's the essential that you need to understand that makes this view particularly valuable. Now, I have taken these splits and I have collapsed them back into a profile unit. So you can see from this view we had more activity in the upper part of the range where the market closed than we did down here in this buying tail. This is an area that was rejected by the market as indicated by the single prints. It came off the high volume node from the previous day. And now as we come into this number, you can see in Globex we're trading up about 6 handles from last night's close. We're actually trading near the high of the day. So the key thing we'll be watching today is to see if this market can close above this area. Now, each one of these is an individual day, but you're really viewing the market as opposed to discretely each individual day. You're viewing the market from a development perspective. So while each one of these is an individual rotation, as the day goes on, it is a piece. Each individual piece is a piece of structure of a bigger form of development that occurs throughout the day. And then to carry that concept even further back in time, each individual day itself is a piece of a bigger picture of development. So when I combine these 2 days, I'll do that again, into one auction, or when I aggregate these 2 days into a composite profile, then that gives us an idea of value in this particular time frame. So you can see yesterday's high came right up to the high volume node of the composite from Tuesday and Wednesday, or I guess that's Monday and Tuesday, I should say, Monday and Tuesday. which is typical in a profile when you're viewing the market through this graph. Now we're talking a lot about the graph today. What the graph is really depicting is an auction market process. And as we continue these webinars out into the future, we're going to be emphasizing more and more heavily understanding the process over just trading a graph, because the graph is a means to an end. It's a tool of really helping you to make trade decisions based on an auction market process. You're not trading the graph, you're trading a process. The graph is the market profile graph is the best and most effective charting format for understanding or viewing the market from an auction market perspective. So that's what we're going to be doing going forward. But the traditional profile graph is comprised of 30-minute rotations. This black line here represents your initial balance period. That represents the first hour of trading, the first 2 rotations. The blue line here is represents 70% of the trade activity based on the number of TPOs across the horizontal scale. And I'll talk more about this, but I don't put a lot of credence or any, ascribe any particular magic to a market like today. If we gap up here and then trade 2 or 3 ticks into this value area, I don't infer anything magical about that. I'm more interested in the fact that there's a lot of activity right in this area and here, frankly. If this market gaps up today, for instance, we're up 6 handles now. If it gaps up and trades higher and then trades back through about 838, that is meaningful because we're trading below 2 important levels from an auction market perspective that you can see on the profile graph. You're trading below the value that was created, the most trading activity late yesterday afternoon, as well as the value that was created earlier this week over here. So guys, I know that's pretty short and sweet. I hope some of that was helpful and worth your time. I appreciate it, you coming in. For those of you that may have come in late, we had forgotten today was the unemployment report, so we're gonna shut this down pretty quickly today. As Ben said, we'll schedule something by midweek next week and do something a little more comprehensive and give you time to ask questions. I want to thank John. I want to thank Ben, Traders Audio, and I want to thank you guys for your time this morning, and we will see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right.
Trade well, guys.
Yeah, talk to you later.